Hello and welcome to the webinar titled Early Care and Education Data Resources for Students and Librarians from the Child and Family Data Archive, also known as CFData. My name is Brinda Mahishi, and I am a data project manager at CFData. For today's webinar, I will give an overview of the archive and the resources that we have to support students in finding and analyzing data related to early care and education, as well as go over some resources for librarians and official representatives to ICPSR who are interested in assisting students or faculty with their research needs. I will then go over in more detail about how you can access the data and the different restriction levels of the different data sets. And then finally, we'll close this webinar with a question and answer session. So launched in 2019, CFData is the place to discover, access, and analyze data on young children, their families and communities, and the programs that serve them. CFData is a project funded by the Office of Planning, Research, and Evaluation, or OPRE, within the Administration for Children and Families. CFData is housed at ICPSR at the University of Michigan. And ICPSR, of course, has over 60 years of experience in providing research data. So CFData's primary goal is to maintain and establish a secure data archive to serve as a central repository for data from previous, current, and future OPRE-supported grants and contracts that are relevant to the early care and education, or ECE, field. To that end, we offer the data to allow for replication of the original study findings. We also want researchers and other analysts to conduct additional analyses to extend what can be discovered from the data beyond the findings of the original study. We promote the ability to link or harmonize across data sets to look for trends. And ultimately, our goal is that we want use of the data to lead to advances in knowledge of and influence decision-making related to early care and education. CFData's intended primary audience includes researchers, policy analysts, and others who conduct research on a wide range of issues within and across childcare, Head Start, home visiting, parenting skills, the ECE workforce, and other ECE programs, as well as those who conduct research relevant to the ECE field. Our data users range from novice to advanced. We have almost 400 data sets at CFData with accompanying documentation available for secondary data analysis. Our wide range includes data on federal and state-funded programs such as Head Start, the Child Care and Development Fund Block Grant, and the Maternal, Infant, and Early Childhood Home Visiting Program. We also have administrative data, community-based surveys focused on parent and child development, and observational studies in classrooms and homes. Next, I'm going to discuss a bit about how students can use CFData and some of the resources that are available on our website. So why use CFData for your research or dissertation or thesis? As mentioned earlier, CFData has almost 400 studies available, 208 of which are public use, and a select number of those studies are available for analysis within our online analysis feature on the website, so you wouldn't need to download the data or use or have statistical programs on your computer. 164 studies are restricted use because they contain sensitive data and thus will require an application to access. And best of all of the data on CFData does not require external funding supports. We also have developed several resources and tools to help students, including search tools and filters that help you kind of narrow down your search and find the study of interest for your research, Or we have a variables search, which it searches variables across all studies. Additionally, each study has a homepage which provides a summary and information on weights, methods, design, and more. Interested users can also download documentation, including surveys, questionnaires, and code books for the study prior to determining if they want to download the data or apply for access. And we can also provide guidance on accessing the data or finding particular data sets and have staff available to assist via user support. Another resource is the ICPSR bibliography, where you can see how the study has been cited in the past. And once you've completed your own dissertation, thesis, or research publication, you can share your work with us and have it included in our bibliography, where it will then be linked on the study homepage. So CFData data have been accessed by many students over the years, as well as currently. Here is a snapshot from 2017 to 2022. So we have over 89 students at that time period who cited CFData studies in their master's thesis or dissertation. We had 76 dissertations and 13 master's theses across a wide range of departments, including psychology, human development and child studies, education, policy, economics, social work, and more. And here we have a list of some of the top studies that were cited by students in that same time period from 2017 to 2022. So you can see that students have used studies on a wide range of topics, including on different Head Start studies, CCDF, and childcare licensing studies. Next, let's take a look to find out where to find the resources. So the CFData website is available at childandfamilydataarchive.org. The first tab on the website is called Getting Started, and it is a great place to get oriented to the website and the resources available. It provides quick links to some of our featured resources and support, and we'll kind of walk you through the process of from exploring and learning about CFData and our collection down to finding data and then viewing past videos and finally signing up for our listserv to learn more about special events and topics. There are two main ways to on this main homepage to search for data. So first, you can use the large circle search bar circled here in red and type in your search term and then press enter or click on the magnifying glass. And then the second way is under the data tab. Other data related tabs include the variables and publications tabs. So the variables tab allows you to search for variables across all the studies in the archive. And currently that's over 600,000 variables. And the publications tab allows you to search our over 10,000 publications and see which studies were cited and then link back to that study's data set. Here we have a screenshot of the search results page. So you would enter your term or phrase of interest here, and then you can see results from studies related to that term, data-related publications, variables, and series, which is 2 or more related studies with different data collection periods. You can use the filters on the left panel of the search results to further narrow your search. So you can filter by subject terms. Every study in our collection is tagged with multiple subject terms that kind of capture the essence of the data set. So that means you can select one or more subject terms to narrow your search down and view all studies tagged with those terms. Data format is referring to the to the statistics package, and it's also where you can find out which studies have the online analysis feature available. Data type is looking at whether the data is quantitative or qualitative. Time period refers to the years of data collection. Restriction type is where you would narrow down whether you are getting looking for public use data, which is instantly downloadable, or restricted use data, which you would have to apply for. Author is who collected the data. Mode of data collection is referring to how the data were collected. So whether it's interview, mail questionnaire, observation, etc. And then recent releases, you can filter for studies that were just released in the last week or so, or up to the last year for some older studies. And then once you have found a study you are interested in learning more about, you can click on the study title and that will take you to the study homepage. So here we have a screenshot of a study homepage of an example of the Baby Faces 2012 study. So in the at a glance section, this is where you will find the summary about the study, including like a description and the scope of the project and information on the study's methodology, sampling, weights, and more. One thing to look for on a study homepage is in the notes section. If there is kind of this red highlighted section that indicates that some of the data files or data sets within this study are restricted and will require an application to access. So some of the studies at CFData have kind of a mixed set with some files that are public and some that are restricted, and this will help you see which studies have some restricted files. The Data and Documentation tab on the study homepage allows you to download all study-related documentation that is publicly available for that data set. And then when available, there's also a preview button, which will allow you to open the documentation in a modal box without having to actually download the document. Examples of study-related documents and resources include code books, users' guides, surveys, and questionnaires. So here is the variables search tab on the study homepage. This is where you can search for and compare variables within that particular study. So you would just enter your word or phrase here, and then the search results will return a list of variables related to your search term, including information on the variable name, the label and question text if it's available, the variable type, and the associated data set by data set number. So in this example, the variable DLL would be found in data set DS5. And then when you click on a variable name, you will be directed to a page that shows the variable name here, which in this example is A3LO6, and the question text. So are children playing on sidewalk or in street? Then we have all the possible answers to that question in the values with the label. So we have the no and then the two yes responses and the unweighted frequency for each response, including information down below on the missing values. And if you scroll down further on the same variable search page, the variable frequencies are also displayed in a graph with the red bars indicating the missing values. On the study homepage, again, if you look at the data-related publications tab, you'll see a list of publications that have cited that particular study. And then you can further filter that list by clicking on the More Options link, which will take you to the main publication search page. So now going back to the main CFData homepage, under the Resources tab is where you'll find a collection of video resources. So this is where you will find many videos of data release webinars along with their accompanying slides, as well as old past data trainings offered by data producers. And you can filter by a particular data set here. So today's webinar will also be included in this list when it is available. Under the About Us section, you can learn more about CFData, our project team, and announcements, as well as data releases and upcoming trainings through the news link. Another great resource that I want to highlight is our infographics, which kind of give you a quick look at the breadth of the studies available at CFData. So this can be found under the resources tab. So like I showed earlier, where you find video resources, there's a page here called data resources and materials. And that's where you will find some of our infographics, including this example here, which is looking at select studies and series by child age and time method. So on the left is the study or series name. And then the bars on the right represent the range of the children's ages that are being studied in that particular study, along with the colors represent the different time methods, with blue being longitudinal, green is cross-sectional, and orange is repeat cross-sectional. So in this example, the My Hope study, which looks at infant home visiting, is studying children aged from birth to 1 year of age, and it is a longitudinal study. We also have an infographic looking at studies by data collection period and time method, grouped together by the restriction level of those studies. So that is also a great resource to check out. CFData also has a seasonal online newsletter where we highlight new data released, recent user publications, events, and news, including on upcoming data training webinars and conferences that we might be attending. Each newsletter has a theme where we spotlight data related to that particular theme. Past themes have included dual language learners, teacher and center characteristics, parents' mental health, and data related to COVID-19. I see that my colleague Tessa has put in a link to subscribe to the CFData newsletter, so I encourage everyone to take a look at that. Our upcoming newsletter, which will actually be published on Thursday, is focused on grants offered by OPRE for secondary analyses of data archived at CFData. So you can check out the link here. Tessa, if you could copy this link into the chat, that can give you more information about the forecasted grant opportunities available. So this was just a brief overview of CFData, but to learn more about the archive, we encourage everyone to visit us at our website, and you can click on the About Us page, where you'll find a fun, short 2-minute video that introduces you to the collection and the resources that we provide to users like you. So now let's turn to how you can access the data. So CFData hosts a range of data with varying levels of sensitive information. Data with little to no risk of identifying a participant are categorized as public use data. These data are available for download or online analysis instantly. Data with risk of indirect identification of a participant, for example, a small sample size or protected or vulnerable populations, or because of requirements by the funding agency or the data producer, are categorized as restricted use data and require an application process to access. We restrict data to maintain confidentiality of the participants while preserving the viability of the data for research purposes. There are different levels of restriction that I will talk about next. So here we have a general overview showing the data type, the method of access, how to access each data type, and the timeline for access. So from the arrow on the left, you can see that the colors going from green down to orange represent increasing sensitivity of the data and therefore are more restricted. The green boxes represent accessing study documentation and searching the variables, which we encourage everyone as a first step when exploring the data and deciding which data set you may want to use for your analysis. You would then access that information directly on the CFData website instantly. The blue boxes show the public use data, which can be downloaded instantly without an application, or it can be accessed with the online analysis feature. Accessing public use or restricted use data on CFData first requires users to create a free ICPSR account and login, which is where you will manage your applications. Next, looking at the orange boxes, this highlight the different levels of restricted data. So we have secure download, virtual data enclave, and physical data enclave with increasing sensitivity again of the data. In general, the timeline involves initial review by CFData staff within 2 to 4 weeks of your application submission for these data. And then once it is approved, access is then valid for 2 years as long as the application is kept in compliance. And then there is an option to renew annually after that. So all of this information that is provided here is also on the website in a bit more detail. So I encourage you to check that out while you are looking into the application process. So it can be found under the Data tab under How to Access Data. When searching for data on the website, users can filter for public use or restricted use data by using the restriction type filter that I showed earlier, and then selecting by the level of restriction. So first, let's take a look at public use data and how to access it. CFData currently has 208 public use studies that can be accessed by users instantly. And it can be accessed in 2 ways. So the first way is through the online analysis feature. Online analysis is a unique feature available for about 90 studies archived with CFData. So users can explore and analyze data without downloading the data or needing statistical software of their own. This feature would be a great tool for instructors during classroom exercises or when exploring the data, or for students analyzing data in a statistics workshop, for example. And through that online analysis, you can recode and create new variables, perform various types of analysis, including frequencies and crosstabs, for example, to see a summary statistics for missing data in the study, comparison of means and correlations, correlation matrix, regression analyses, and apply analytic weights as well. You can also produce simple summary statistics for reports, export results for use in spreadsheets and presentations, or create custom subsets of variables or cases for download into an SPSS, SAS, data, or comma separated data set from a larger data collection to save storage space on your computer. To find studies that have the online analysis feature, you would use the data format filter on the search results page and then select for online analysis. Then on the study homepage, you would select the Analyze Online button, and a new modal box will then open up, allowing you to select from a list of available data sets to analyze within that study. The second way to access public use data is through data download. So public use data sets are available in a variety of data formats that you can see here. Those include SAS, SPSS, data, R, and others, and can be downloaded directly to the user's computer with minimal delay. So next, looking a little bit at the restricted use data. CFData has almost 200 studies that are restricted use, meaning that they contain sensitive information with a potential for indirect identification of a participant. Restricted use data can be accessed in three ways. So the first way is secure download. This is when a user selects a data security plan during their application process and then downloads the data either to a non-networked computer, an external hard drive, or to a local virtual enclave on an isolated network, depending on the approved location specified in the plan. The majority of the restricted use studies at CFData are available via secure download. Next, we have the ICPSR Virtual Data Enclave, which you can access the data through ICPSR's virtual desktop. CFData only has a select few studies that are accessed in the VDE currently. And then finally, we have the ICPSR Physical Data Enclave. So this is located at our ICPSR office here in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The PDE is only for the most sensitive data. So CFData currently only has one data set, which is the video data from the Mother and Infant Home Visiting Program Evaluation Study, or MyHope, available for access via the PDE. We encourage users who want to use restricted use data to plan ahead because accessing restricted use data requires some time to submit an application and receive approval. We also recommend that users spend time reviewing the code books and variables to determine whether a restricted use data set is relevant for your needs before you apply for the data. So once you have selected a study that you'd like to access, you can begin your application by clicking on the Access Restricted Data button highlighted here on the study homepage, and then follow the instructions and complete the sections that are shown next. So the application requires several pieces of information. Access to restricted data at CFData requires that the principal investigator hold a terminal degree, such as a PhD, MD, JD, etc. However, students or other researchers can still access the data if they don't have a terminal degree by having a sponsor with a terminal degree, and then you would be listed here under research staff information. Other required information includes a description of the intended research project, a data security plan, an IRB determination letter, and a restricted data use agreement acknowledged by the principal investigator and signed by a representative from your institution. Archive staff are available to assist you with your application and to answer any questions that you may have along the way. So you can just email us at cfdata-help@umich.edu. So next, I just want to go over a little bit about how these resources that I've highlighted could be used by librarians or ORs or anyone else to help connect faculty and students at their institution with the resources at CFData. So to assist students or other researchers at your institution in finding data, we have developed a few resources, including a resource packet, which we are putting in the chat. Yes, I see Tessa has included a link to a Dropbox link where you can actually download this resource packet. So it includes quick links to the infographics I presented, plus a graph summarizing characteristics of some of our major studies. It gives a printout of the Getting Started page with links to important resources, and our highlights our user support email address as well. So this packet is intended to be shared with interested students, professors who might be conducting secondary analyses in their classes or for their research, department leads, or other subject area librarians. Additionally, we'd like to highlight that potentially having their faculty or students' work included in our ICPSR bibliography that I mentioned earlier can help raise the profile of research being done at the institutions. Um, the the packet again that Tessa has linked here we will also be sending that out to everyone who registered for this webinar once the recording is available. So look for that in your email as well. So if you believe that the links that I've shown to the website or that are in the packet would be helpful to your students, if you work at an institution, we encourage you to include the CFData website in your university's LibGuides under any relevant subject fields, such as human development courses, psychology, education, etc. And you can also reach out directly to us as well to discuss what resources might be best for your students or researchers, and if you'd like any assistance in sharing those with them. And you can also feel free to send any interested students to our user support address. Again, I think we have it listed there, cfdata-help@umich.edu, where CFData staff will be happy to work with them to help them find data or to assist them with their application process. And now we are happy to take a few questions, so please feel free to type your questions into the question box. Again, if there's no questions right now at this time, you can always email us again at cfdata-help@umich.edu. And I want to give a quick reminder again to visit our CFData website and sign up for our listserv to receive notifications on data release announcements, data webinars and workshops, as well as our seasonal newsletter, which is coming out on Thursday that has information about OPRE grants that are coming up. And lastly, I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us today. Oh, I see one. Yes, there are links to the resource packet and the listserv again in the chat. So please feel free to access those there. And we will be sending out an email over the next week or so with more information about the resource packet and the recording, a link to the recording of today's webinar that you can share as well. So again, thank you, everyone.